Well, let's get more now on our top story. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has campaigned for more than a decade about the dangers of a nuclear-armed Iran. And tonight he praised Donald Trump's leadership in withdrawing from the deal. And I'm joined now from Jerusalem by Israel's Education Minister, Naftali Bennett. He's also leader of the right-wing Jewish Home Party. Good evening to you. What did you make of President Trump's address at the White House earlier today?
This was a bold and courageous decision of President Trump that's going to make the world much safer, because effectively it's going to put a stop to the nuclear arms race that was beginning to develop in the Middle East, the most dangerous region in the world. This is very good news for the free world.
What would you say to those that, I mean, you describe it as a courageous and bold movement on the part of the president. What would you say to those who say that this is really extremely bellicose and is leading us nowhere but to war?
Absolutely disagree. It's quite the contrary. The current deal allowed Iran to develop advanced centrifuges, not to use it, but to develop very advanced centrifuges. Allowed Iran to develop the missiles to carry nuclear weapons, allowed Iran to export terror, and allowed Iran billions of dollars to strengthen all of these terrible activities. It was such a bad deal that inevitably it was leading us towards Iran with a nuclear arsenal. This move, to get coupled with crippling sanctions, will force Iran to a very clear decision. Do they want to continue their adventures on a nuclear path, or do they want a good future for their children? Now it's up to Iran to make the decision. Do they want to waste the resources of their future or build their country?
Doesn't this withdrawal from the deal, though, put Israel in a more precarious position? It leaves you more exposed, doesn't it?
Actually, it does not. Iran, in any case, has been trying to create military bases on our border in the Golan Heights, which is yet another military adventure of theirs. 1,600 kilometers from Iran, they found a reason to start developing threatening weapons. We're not going to allow that to happen. The deal, in fact, weakens Iran because it hurts their economy, and then they have to focus inward domestically instead of continuing these adventures. The Iranian public does not like all of what the regime is doing. They're fed up with Iran in Yemen, Iran in Saudi Arabia, Iran in Iraq, Iran in Syria. They are telling their leaders, stop all of this, start focusing on our lives, on our education, on our jobs. And I think it's going to force Iran's leadership to do the right thing.
Tougher economic sanctions, as President Trump is intimating that he would like to put in extremely tough economic sanctions, not just on Iran, but for those that would support them. That's going to back Iran into a corner. When an animal is wounded and it's backed into a corner, it tends to strike out.
In theory, that may be the case, but Iran is led by people who are very adroit. They are very radical, but they're not stupid. And they understand that if they want to continue all these wars in the region, continue killing people, helping Syria kill 500,000 of its civilians, it's just going to exhaust itself economically. And they understand that it's a time of reckoning. They need to make a decision. And I think their public now understands that their leadership has pulled them away.
Benjamin Netanyahu said in his speech that the deal saw Iran's aggression multiply day by day. Do you really think that that aggression will decrease now?
It'll take time, but the answer is yes. History has taught us that when you fight an aggressor that's developing, if you do it and you nip it in the bud early on, which is what we're doing right now, you can actually stop it. If you prefer to enjoy and elude yourself into false sense of security, which was what the deal did, we'd be meeting a very powerful Iran 4 or 5 years down the road. And today, we looked at reality as it is, and it's a tough reality, and we said, and President Trump said, I'm not going to allow that to develop.
I believe that it's 90 to 180 days before any sanctions come into play. And towards the end of his address, President Trump did say that he was almost extending a hand, a deal could be done. Is that your preferred option? Is negotiating your preferred option? And do you think it's possible?
Absolutely. A deal that would stop Iran's development of missiles, a deal that would stop Iran's R&D on advanced centrifuges, that would stop Iran's export of terror. That's all we want. If they stop those three activities, that's the right deal that should have been done to begin with, and that's something that Israel would vehemently support.
Naftali, Bennett, thank you very much for speaking to us, Israel's education minister there. Thank you.